Stage 1. The spark. The world often feels too slow, too sharp, too confusing, too much to process, too boring to endure. So you escape, naturally, into movies. At first, it's comfortable. Childhood Saturdays were reserved for Toy Story, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, The Lion King, and Aladdin. You didn't care about cinematography or symbolism. You just wanted something to make you laugh, cry, or feel bigger than you were. Your early universe of heroes and magic included Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Star Wars. The adventures were epic, villains were frightening, heroes were relatable. You saw your own anxieties and joys mirrored in Frodo's doubt, Hermione's intelligence, and Jack Sparrow's chaotic charm. Pixar films made you cry at lessons you didn't yet understand: loss, friendship, and hope. Disney films offered comfort in endless loops of song and color. Then came the teenage years, the main character phase. Movies stopped being background noise and started feeling personal. Suddenly you weren't just watching, you were relating. You saw yourself in awkward Peter Parker, defiant Katniss Everdeen, and dramatic Mia from La La Land. You cried at The Fault in Our Stars, pretended you understood Inception, and felt existential after Interstellar without knowing why. Every heartbreak felt cinematic. Every triumph needed a score. You started saying things like, "I love movies with depth," even if depth just meant someone cried in the rain. You built emotional playlists through film: When Life Hurts, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. When you felt lost, Into the Wild. When you felt trapped, The Truman Show. When you felt ambitious, The Social Network. And when you just wanted to feel something, Whiplash. That's when the shift happened. You started watching for meaning. It wasn't just explosions or endings anymore. It was the ideas behind them. Top Gun: Maverick made you think about legacy and human limits. Barbie made you think about identity. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once made you think about nihilism and love. Parasite made you think about inequality. And Oppenheimer made you wonder whether genius and guilt are the same thing. You started leaving theaters quiet, not because you were bored, but because your brain was still processing. You were beginning to look through movies, not just at them. You found yourself talking about camera work, even if you didn't know the right words. You started saying that ending meant something. You began noticing things like sound, pacing, and tone, all the invisible parts of storytelling you'd ignored before. You didn't fully understand it yet, but your instincts were waking up. Movies weren't just entertainment anymore. They were a mirror. Stage 1 isn't about discovering movies. It's about discovering yourself. Cinema becomes a language you understand instinctively, a rhythm of life and emotion. You're not just watching anymore. You're seeing, feeling, reflecting, and learning. Movies become mentors. They teach courage, heartbreak, hope, and empathy before you even know you need lessons. Stage 2. The Awakening. Stage 2 begins when movies stop being just comfort and start being craft. You pause scenes, you rewind, you use words like framing, composition, and mise en scène, even if you don't fully understand them. You research cinematography and color theory, then nod knowingly at moments that feel right. You learn the difference between an A24 release and a blockbuster and pretend you've always known. You Google, "What is aspect ratio?" after watching The Lighthouse. And now every time a movie changes its shape, you whisper, "Art." Blockbusters still excite you. Endgame, The Dark Knight, Top Gun, Maverick, Spider-Man, No Way Home. But now you notice pacing, tone, music cues, and editing choices. They're thrilling but shallow. You crave depth. Director obsession hits hard. You start watching movies based on who made them. You binge Tarantino and fall in love with rhythm and dialogue. You discover Fincher and get addicted to precision and control. You dive into Scorsese and learn that morality can be messy, beautiful, and violent. You find Denis Villeneuve and finally understand that silence can be louder than words. Kubrick becomes the ultimate challenge. Every shot analyzed, every frame scrutinized. You explore Greta Gerwig's Little Women and marvel at how dialogue dances with imagery. Bong Joon-ho's Parasite is more than a story. It's socio-political commentary married to visual genius. You notice Ari Aster's Hereditary for tension, mood, and manipulation. Non-linear narratives captivate you. You talk about Memento, Pulp Fiction, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Donnie Darko like sacred texts. You try to impress friends by making a Letterboxd account and fill it with poetic one-line reviews like, "This film understood me before I did." You wear tote bags that say Cinephile. You tell people your favorite genre is psychological drama because thriller sounds too basic. You start referencing Mulholland Drive and The Seventh Seal at parties no one invited you to talk at. You're not watching movies anymore. You're curating your soul. Letterboxd and Rotten Tomatoes become your scripture. You obsess over ratings, reviews, and discourse. Actors become icons. Saoirse Ronan, Adam Driver, Florence Pugh, Joaquin Phoenix, Willem Dafoe. You memorize performances and study subtle gestures. Cinematography, sound design, and color palettes aren't just tools. They're poetry. Movies define your taste, shape your identity, and differentiate you socially. Stage 2 is about knowing, about decoding, about beginning to see films as intentional craft rather than magic. Stage 3, the critic phase. Stage 3 begins when you stop watching movies and start evaluating them. Every scene is analyzed, dialogue is measured, subtext dissected. You love films, but don't trust them. When a story moves you, your first question is analytical. Why did it work? Why did I feel that? You rewind, scrutinize, and overthink. Magic fades under the microscope. Opinions harden. Ari Aster peaked with Hereditary. Paul Thomas Anderson excels in There Will Be Blood. Midsummer is visually stunning but emotionally manipulative. You argue that Everything Everywhere All at Once is too chaotic for its own good, and insist Parasite is now too mainstream. Letterboxd becomes a dueling ground. Half-star reviews are your pride. You weaponize taste, unironically. Your cinephilia isolates you. Friends no longer want to watch films with you. You pause comedies, analyze dramas, lecture over Barbie, dissect Oppenheimer, and feel simultaneously smarter and lonelier. Characters become mirrors. Walter White, Travis Bickle, Lady Macbeth, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. You are them. You inhabit their lives, their choices, their madness. Stage 3 is control before enlightenment, judgment before liberation. You can't stop watching. You're addicted to analysis, critique, and the pursuit of one film that can still make you feel. Stage 4, the cult of cinema. By Stage 4, movies don't just entertain you, they educate you. You watch for mastery, ritual, and revelation. Directors become prophets. Scorsese, Kubrick, Coppola, Herzog, Tarkovsky, Kurosawa, Bergman, Ozu. Films aren't entertainment. They're lessons. Black and white masters teach patience. European auteurs teach restraint. Obscure Iranian, Japanese, and Eastern European films become scripture. You watch Stalker, Rashomon, The Seventh Seal, Ikaru, Aguirre, The Wrath of God, not for pleasure, but for insight. Dialogue is metaphysical. Silence is existential. Every frame is a question. Every cut a moral lesson. Film communities online and offline become your church. You argue over the Tree of Life, post cryptic memes referencing Satan Tango, and watch David Lynch on your phone at 3 a.m. You watch Salo just to prove your endurance. Cinema becomes a worldview, empathy, morality, cultural literacy. You feel enlightened, superior, and strangely lonely. Stage 4 is worship. You are a disciple, a believer, a scholar of cinema. Stage 5, the creator's crisis. Stage 5 begins when you decide, I can make this myself. You buy a camera, write scripts, cast friends, and attempt cinematic magic. The first cut is unbearable. Dialogue is stiff, plot incoherent. Your protagonist is awkward, your antagonist misunderstood. Lighting fails. Do it yourself and the effects look amateur. You don't want to watch it. You rewrite, reshoot, and show your best cut to friends. They nod politely. They say nothing. You question your worth, skill, and obsession. Comparison to masters stings. Stage 5 is humility. Passion doesn't equal mastery. Knowledge doesn't equal talent. You are small in the face of cinema, yet a spark persists. You can grow. Stage 6, the dedication. Stage 6 begins when you stop questioning whether you can make a film and decide to devote your life to it anyway. You enroll in film school, master classes, and late-night cinema. Everything becomes cinematic. Street corners, conversations, sunlight on leaves. You analyze TikTok, Instagram, and home videos as if they are experimental shorts. You read Bazin, Mulvey, Saris, Andre Bazin. You think in shots, pacing, and montage. Life is a storyboard. Every gesture is meaningful. Every silence has weight. You pitch scripts, rewrite endlessly, dream of Parisian cafes, new wave discussions, and living in filmic worlds. Obsession is joyful and isolating. Stage 6 is full immersion. Movies aren't watched, they are lived. Stage 7, the filmmaker's metamorphosis. Stage 7 begins when you step fully into the heart of cinema. LA, Paris, New York. You work on set, study theater, philosophy, and literature. You read Artaud, Brecht, Iñárritu. You see life in shots, angles, and rhythm. People are characters. Moments are scenes. Emotions are dolly zooms, lingering close-ups, slow pans. Life becomes cinematic. A sunset is a scene. A puddle is a metaphor. Every conversation is dialogue. Every choice is editing. You are both an audience and auteur. You live the language of cinema. Stage 7 is not about watching movies. It is about being them. Cinema is no longer external. It is the essence of your life. You are the director, subject, audience, and story. You live at 24 frames per second. Your world is composed, your life edited, your soul framed. And at last, you understand, cinema is not just art, it is you. Like, subscribe, and comment below which stage of the cinephile disease are you suffering from.